You have to build a station so that you can survive, so that you can breathe without a spacesuit, so that you can eat and drink, which only works with closed helmet on easy difficulty. Always pay attention to the tooltips, particularly when holding a tool. Here, for example, it can save you a lot of time. Drop everything from your hands and backpack that you don't need. And turn off the flashlight with L or the button in your helmet to save a lot of battery. Open your tablet's inventory and drag the Atmos Analyzer cartridge inside. Drag the tablet into any of your hands, press the right mouse button to turn it on, and take a reading of the tanks that you brought with you. Drag the mining belt into your belt slot so that any ores you would mine would directly be picked up into the mining belt. Open the construction supplies crate and take the iron frames. Press right mouse button and lay a foundation for your station with the left mouse button. Remove any extraneous dirt with the mining drill that you turn on with the right mouse button. Swap iron frames with iron sheets and take the welder. Pointing at the frames with one of your tools would have told you that. Turn on the torch with right mouse button and start welding with left mouse button. You should leave something like a front porch half welded to save on materials. Swap the iron sheets with the iron walls. Study the keys shown to you at the bottom of the screen. E is for swapping hands. T is for placing down carefully. Q is for throwing. And R is like clicking on the item with the mouse button. Press right mouse button to start building and pay attention to the rich information presented in the dynamic tooltip. Mouse wheel is for selecting the item of this kit, but for now you should stick with the windows. If the rotation isn't correct, press the appropriate rotation key, or press the auto-rotate key a few times, or hold it down and use the mouse wheel. But before you close up your little starter box, you should haul everything inside while you still conveniently can do so. By the way, now that your oxygen tank is no longer attached to your lander, you can easily top up your own oxygen canister
Air tank critical.
by dragging it inside. But don't do that with the wrong tank!
Toxin critical.
Now close up the rest of your station, including the roof. Oh, did you know that you can fly? J is for jetpack. And there's another stack of iron walls in your construction box. Don't forget to leave an opening, because you need a door. In fact, you need 2 doors, because you're in space, you need an airlock. But before we get to that, take iron sheets and glass sheets in both your hands. And start closing up those walls, which once again a literal tooltip would have revealed you need. Make sure you inspect that everything is closed up. You can use the crowbar to see if there's a missing window or something. The battery is already rather low, so it's time to deal with electrical supplies. Take the solar panel. Place it on the roof next to your airlock, not on top of the airlock, with right mouse button. Choose the diagonal variant and that variant that points at the sun right now, and place it down. Complete it with the glass sheets. Take the cable kit from the tool belt that is in your inventory and start cabling up the solar panel. Use the auto-rotate key, which will help a lot here. You always want a power supply in your airlock, so go to your electrical supplies box and get the power controller kit. Place the power controller so that the blueprint turns yellow, which indicates a connection. Make sure that the arrows point to the left. Place the other power controller right next to it, on the other side. This time the arrow must point to the right. Open the power controllers and put in the batteries from your electrical supplies box. Now it's time to charge your battery. Use the mouse to drag your own battery to the one in the power controller. Notice how the power controller battery is slowly charging up from the solar panel. The other power controller is not connected yet. So are we supposed to scroll through 8 different variations and rotate them correctly? No, you just need the curved cables and the straight cables. Look at the tooltip. Merging requires wire cutters. That's convenient. Also place down a small battery charger right next to this whole construction. Connect it, but don't power it on yet because it consumes electricity, while the area power controller's buffer batteries don't consume any electricity when they get charged, a part of whatever electricity they take in. Maybe you already want to place down the solid fuel generator from the electrical supplies box, so that you can supply coal energy to your station. But make sure to connect the cable to the right cable network, the one that brings electricity into your station. It's time to fetch the airlock supplies and the doors. Like most things you can build, they are a kit. I suggest to use the composite door. Complete the 2 airlock doors like the tool in your hand will suggest. But leave them open, it's not yet time to hermetically seal your station. Take the airlock motherboard and the console computer and install them on the opposite side of the power controller so that they are on the airlock power network. Take the sensor kit and the active vent. Install the gas sensor and install the active vent so that you can connect the pipes and the passive vent like this. Remember the auto-rotate key. Take the data disk and stick it into your console. The slit is probably at the bottom, hard to reach, but it's easy to do if you know what you're doing. Connect all the cables in your airlock. Just connect everything with everything. On this side of the cable network, not on this side. You will later sleepwalk this. It's completely easy once you know what you're doing. There. Now you can turn on the area power controller and witness your doors move electrically. But leave them open. We're not yet ready to finally configure the airlock because we want to install some cooling first, if possible. We have achieved a lot already. If you want to turn up the head-up display, F2. And F1 gets you the Stationpedia to read up on all the interesting things we already did. This is the gas sensor, which is built from the kit sensors, which you already had in your hand. And these are the other sensors that you can make, which you already saw when you built it. Oh, and F5 is for quicksave. Now it's time to install the 3D printer that came with the lander, the autolathe. Multiple build steps are required, but they are the same for all manufacturers, and it's not like you build them very often, so it's worth your time. Done. Good thing we have another cable coil. Connect the autolathe to your inner power supply. We've arranged the power supplies like this because sometimes the energy that comes in, particularly from the coal generator, which delivers 20 kilowatts, will be more than these battery chargers can consume per moment. And so having multiple of them in parallel makes most use of your coal and your electricity. Your goal right now is to make the following 4 manufactories. The autolathe we have. The hydraulic pipe bender is for atmospherics, for example for a better airlock, which we will desire soon. The electronics printer is needed for cables and the station battery and other things. And the tool manufactory for mining backpacks and later for a better tool belt and such. But when we try to make the bender, we realize we don't have the resources. But once we have mined the gold, copper and iron, we realize, oh, we need that in ingot form. That's where the arc furnace comes into play, which you want to place outside because it's very hot and produces a lot of toxic gases. Can you guess where we need to connect it? Of course, on the output side of one of the area power controllers. Not where the power comes into the station, because that is not stable. We want to use the battery buffer. And you shouldn't hang anything from your airlock circuit, if possible, only the airlock itself, because coming into your station and finding your airlock without power is not a good thing. Though, if push comes to shove, you can just swap the batteries. Basically the opposite of what I'm doing right here. Time to smelt some ore. If you use your tablet, you realize that the moon is not as much of a vacuum as it was before. 80% pollutant? Okay, good thing that thing is outside. Now with all the resources, you can start printing the pipe bender, which will take a while. Once you've printed and installed all the manufactories, it's time to print the furnace, which is an absolute beast and definitely belongs on the outside, while its products belong on the inside, so let's make some chutes for convenience. If you have taken the time to get all the resources for this, in between all the mining and hectic and getting electricity. So let's add some chutes here. Outlet. Aha! This is also a nice idea for the arc furnace. There. Whoops, that was an inlet, must be an outlet. And so anything we smelt now comes right into the station. Convenient. Don't forget to turn off things that you don't need. Everything consumes some base electricity. We're not yet done making the furnace. Like every pipe in Stationeers, it too isn't really open. But with a pipe cowl and a valve from the hydraulic pipe bender, we can open it up to the world whenever we need to. To get oxygen into our station, we don't want to waste our pure oxygen gas tank, but instead we want to mine some oxide, which isn't pure but good enough for the station. You can look up the oxide mixture in the Stationpedia, of course. While we're at it, we should also mine a little bit of volatiles. Just don't confuse the two. They are exactly each other's opposite. Do you remember what the station was? First of all, the compass tells you your orientation in the world, so you can use that for navigation. But more interestingly, in our survival supplies, we have a beacon. Remember that tracker chip that we tossed so heedlessly aside? Yeah, it points at the beacon. Do you want to know how wide the body is? Apparently 40 centimeters. It comes with a small battery by default, and you don't have to swap that with a big one because the small one will last you for like almost an hour. And don't forget to turn it off when you don't need it. If you want to charge the battery, well, you got a battery charger. And done. It's time to fire up the airlock. Oh, and you don't have to do the things in this order as I described them. And Obviously, I used some creative and other tricks to get this done, so you will have to find your own flow. This is just an explanation of how to do things, not necessarily of every step you have to take in which order. The lander came with a simple airlock chip. There's also an advanced airlock chip. Now, they both work the same mostly. Here we will first select which devices we want to use. These are all the devices on the local network. If there are more devices that are compatible, they will be listed like this in white. If there are incompatible devices, they will not be clickable. We need an active vent, which is the pump, to pump this room empty. We need the gas sensor so that the airlock can detect when the room is empty. Now we need to select the exterior door. One of these will now become exterior. Which one is it? Aha! This one is now locked. This one is not. So I accidentally clicked the right one, else I would just swap. Now with everything selected, the airlock is ready for use. However, when we come back in, we will see that the door does not open. What's going on? It tries to repressurize to 101 kilopascals. Not only don't we have any gas in there, but also this would take a long time with this setup, and maybe whatever pressure we have in there is not even sufficient. So we could cancel the repressurization. For that we have to turn on this console so that we have access to the button, but leave it off, otherwise it consumes 50 watts. You should try to print the advanced airlock chip with the electronics printer, because if you have something going on out there that has pollutant and poison and whatever, then this simple airlock, which doesn't separate two atmospheres but just keeps the atmosphere in here safe from the vacuum, then you might get some pollutant indoors. You don't want that. Also, the advanced airlock chip has a very important upside. You can select the repressurization value. Obviously, you need a second active vent. Since we just transitioned from the old airlock to the new one, the devices might still be initialized with the previous airlock, so you could select and deselect everything to reset them. Now you could guess select everything like we did before, but there's a better way, particularly with the composite door, because we can use the labeler to name things. Outer door, station 1, inner door, airlock. Now with the advanced airlock finally set up correctly, we have the convenience that an airlock should have. So now it's time to get some gas into this room. And soon, when we have reached 20 kilopascals or more, we can open the helmet. With the button here or by pressing I. Ah, on the moon, in our own station, with the helmet open. Finally free. There's just a little problem. Even though we had 0 degrees from the ice melting, it's getting warmer. The sun is shining in. There's not a problem, right? It's very cool. No, even without wall heaters, it would soon be very hot in here. You can only breathe between 0 degrees and 50 degrees. Everything beyond will damage your lungs. The more damaged your lungs are, the less oxygen you can take in, and eventually you will, of course, die. So we have done a lot of tedious legwork so far, but now it's finally time to be creative. We can start engineering. Will we install an air conditioner, or will we use the fact that we have direct access here to the vacuum of space? We have radiation transfer and convection transfer. Out there, of course, only radiation transfer, but the pipe is very weak at that. Can we make that stronger? Yes, because the pipe bender can produce pipe radiators, and they're really, really, really strong. Problem is, we need steel, which we also need to make the station battery. Good thing we have a furnace. Now we need like 3 iron and 1 coal, or 3 full stacks of iron and 1 full stack of coal, or 48 iron and 16 coal, or whatever. 3 to 900 Kelvin and 1 megapascal or more. And then, using the furnace is not as hard as it looks. We don't need this output 2 for liquid, we don't need this input for hot gases or whatever. We only need to put in some oxide and volatiles here, ignite that, and make sure that the pressure doesn't rise above 60 megapascals, because else we need to reload. Now that I have something in my hands, I can stand at an angle even though the sun is out, which would melt whatever falls into my hands, because it doesn't fall into my hands, it falls into the furnace. Volatiles. Now that both is in there, fire is going on. I no longer need to push the ignite button when I toss something in. So 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2. How much is too much? Well, what I'm doing here is definitely not too much. It's just a little bit. Lots of pressure and lots of heat. So let's toss in the materials. Coal, iron, and once everything's in there, it's already giving us the green light, because we are well within the right parameters. Above 1 megapascal, yup. Above 900K, yes, also. Well then, steel. You might want to set up a stacker via the auto lathe, so that you can split that huge ingot stack in a meaningful way. And just so you know, the labeler can help here. If something remains that doesn't make a full stack, you can click on the lever when it's down and get that out too. So let's print those radiators. And also a station battery. Always a good idea to pipe something extra here so that you can touch the pipe quasi with your scanner. Now let's see how good that cooling solution is. We will pump into the station here. Oh, no power. And out of the station on the other side. So, does this cool us down in any way? We can see here convected a positive number, meaning that the pipe is touching away the warmth that it may have into the station. Certainly not out there into space, there's nothing to convect to. And is radiating away some millijoules. That's not much. Basically nothing's happening. Maybe we should increase the pipe pressure by stopping to pump something out. Turn it on again. Now we have some high pressure that is stable. Well, nothing much happening without those pipe radiators, huh? Now let's make sure that we pump the pipe empty, because if we don't, the oxygen or whatever is in there might eventually freeze. Once we have the pipe radiators up, and frozen gas in a pipe means the pipe has to be rebuilt. And in this case, then even the pipe radiators. So let's see how effective this will be with all those pipe radiators up. Don't use this one is for convection. We don't have any atmosphere here, so that's useless. Another test run then. Okay, let's pump something out. First, always turn this one on, then the other if you operate it manually. Anything happening? Oh, it is cooling down even though there's almost no gas in there. Look at that. Pretty fast. Let's get some gas in there. Now look at the station temperature nosedive. And all we did was pump it through that pipe, which radiates away its heat. You can of course make that pipe longer and zigzag it and add lots more radiators, but in practice this is all you need, man. Time to set up those station batteries, right? Power output is on the right, input on the left. Finally some proper power storage, huh? There's just a little problem. Oh. The standard cables can only withstand 5000 watts, we're putting out 20,000 watts with this coal generator. Normally not a problem, but we are also using 20,000 watts now because these batteries, they take in whatever they can get. But the heavy cables we can print with the electronics printer, with gold and copper, they have a throughput of maximum 100,000 watts. Now we're fine. And we have power forever. There are other ways to make sure that your cables don't burst. For example, you can print a fuse, and wherever you place it on the cable, that's where the cable network will then burst, and not in some random location. For example, underneath a wall, which is a possibility. You can decorate everything with nice walls so that you no longer see this scaffolding and the cables, but you can also print a transformer. It can make sure that you never consume more than you really want. If more is being needed, then, well, there will be brownouts, but no cable burnout. And what do we do when the water reserves have been used up? I mean, we can't dunk this small dude in here, right? Not meaningfully. Well, part of your hydroponics supplies is the water bottle filler. And there's a liquid canister and some pipe utilities. So let's fill the liquid canister. And use the pipe utilities. A tank? No. A big tank? No. Oh, a canister holder. Exactly what we need. That and power, of course. In the same way, we can also set up the hydroponics trays. You might have to run back and forth a few times with your canister, because there needs to be some liquid in here. 0.6 liters isn't much. There. But are we ready for plants yet? We have a lot of O2 in here. The temperature is fine. CO2, oh. Getting plants to flourish isn't hard in Stationeers once you have a routine, but in the beginning it's a rather complex topic. One thing's for sure, we need some more CO2 in here. The welder canister? Nope, that's not CO2.
Jetpack critical.
Nitrogen?
Air tank critical.
Oxygen? Or waste tank maybe?
Waste tank critical.
Okay, that looks good. Click. Open. At least 1% is needed. So that was not sufficient. Time for the almighty kit atmospherics. And the carbon dioxide filter. Or two? Why not? Because this kit has, among other things, a filtration unit. Too bad we don't have any room in here. But why am I even building this? Because we have tons of CO2 available. Just need to make use of it. Right here, our furnacing waste gas. Why not make use of it? So wait, is that all it takes? Well, that and maybe a little cooling. Because what's coming in here is rather hot. But there's also lots of CO2. I mean, what else would be coming in here? Only what is in these filter boxes will come out here. Anything else would come out there, including if there are no filters at all. Too warm? What do we do about that? We cool the station. Hey, let's see who wins. The cooling is even more powerful than the hot furnace gas, but it had enough opportunity to cool down, so You should try to keep your station pressure between 50 and maybe 150 kilopascals. If you have plants indoors, then between 50 and 100 kilopascals, because that's what the plants like the most. You just saw that in the Stationpedia. For whatever reason, now the gas that's coming in is much hotter than before. The furnace is a weird thing. Anyway, 50 degrees, man. Not good for the lungs. And that's all we have, this room. Okay, we have a spacesuit also. This saves us. The spacesuit will actually
Temperature high.
use a lot more oxygen the hotter it is, because it tries to cool down your body using some oxygen if the AC isn't powerful enough. Let's turn this off, we have enough. And in a few seconds, our great cooling solution will already have solved the problem. Nice. Now we want to print the plant analyzer cartridge, which is pretty essential for doing any greenhousing. So let's take those potato seeds and plant only one of them normally, but I'm going to be bold and plant all of them. Now if they all die, I am dead. That is what this is. Oh, well, I still have some wheat, okay. Not entirely dead. Also, you can make a trader platform and call someone down with a radio dish, and then if you're lucky they will sell you some seeds. Depends on what they have. Now, plant analyzer cartridge. Growth efficiency is fine, is increasing. Why? The temperature is a bit warm. The ideal temperature is between 20 and 30 for this plant. Its offspring might be a bit different because there's actually genetics in this game. Yep. So what contributes to the growth efficiency, which is summarized here with the statement the potato is thriving towards fruiting, or is barely growing towards fruiting and such. The growth efficiency consists of breathing efficiency, temperature efficiency, pressure efficiency, and light efficiency. Let's explain those. Breathing efficiency is a matter of, down here you can see carbon dioxide, we need at least 1%, we have 16. Pollutant must be low, volatiles must be low, both of which we don't have at all, and what you can do about those, either use the scrubber that actually came with your lander, or you do such a thing. Why not? What's more fun for you? That's what you do. Then we have the breathing efficiency. Then we have the temperature efficiency. That's fine. Temperature is actually low enough by now. Now I can't see when the pipe is empty. I'll just wing it. Then we have the pressure efficiency. We have min ideal is 52, max ideal is 100, we have 68, that's fine. Light efficiency. Now here's something complicated that most people fall for in the beginning. The plants don't only need light, they also need darkness. How much light and how much darkness, that is a matter of duration. It is measured in 20-minute intervals, just like your normal day duration is, if you haven't toyed with the orbit timescale command. F3 is for the console. And so let's say we need like 5 minutes of light during the day. Then if you give it like 15 minutes of light during the day, that's fine because the condition has been fulfilled. And if you make sure that there is no sunlight or grow light for 3 minutes or whatever this plant needs during the day, then you will have also no darkness deficiency. But if you have light deficiency or darkness deficiency, which will be show up in red here, then the illumination stress will go up. And if those are no longer there, the illumination stress will still be high, but it will slowly fall down again. With the higher it is, the less growth efficiency you will have. Light intensity 103. I just put up the grow light, and now we have 183. Is that too much? No, the plants will grow even faster. The more light they have, the faster they grow. The longer they have light, the longer they grow. Because my understanding is they only grow while there is light. Just make sure that they get enough darkness also, and not too little light duration. Speaking about lights. Yep, that's nice. Nice. The sun is down. This should tell us to turn off the grow light. We'll just use the same rhythm. Or the grow light could stay on for a little longer. By the way, whenever you turn on or off the grow light, that also causes a slight bit of elimination strategy. And if you just heard that, this little breather sound, that's what these things do sometimes. Just well, for entertainment purposes, I would assume. Hey, let's top up the oxygen once more.
Air tank critical.
Okay, I think you've seen enough. After this, you should really be able to make your beginnings in Stationeers. And after all, one of the greatest parts of this whole thing is the journey of learning, of trying out things. And maybe there will be another video of this fast cut style where I explain logic and programming. But I'm not sure yet. See ya.